Right, let's clear something up in the first 10 seconds, because the internet's completely messed this up. PT-141 is not Viagra, and it's definitely not that tanning peptide your mate's been injecting into his stomach before his beach holiday. 3 different drugs constantly mixed up, and getting them confused is how you end up with the wrong one and a very real problem. And stick around, because the reason 2 of these get tangled up together is the weirdest part of the whole story. It involves a lab, a suntan, and a side effect that nobody was looking for. But I'll get back to that later. Welcome back to Peptide Corner. I'm Tom, a chartered chemical process engineer, which essentially just means I assess data all the time, so you don't have to. Now, for the mandatory quick housekeeping, this video is for educational and research purposes only, not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, I'm just an engineer. And if this is useful for you, please smash that like button, hit subscribe, and click the bell icon. We're a brand new channel, and your support goes a long, long way to supporting us to bring you the content that you love. On to the good news first. Right, so here's what makes PT-141 quite unique in this space. It's one of the only peptides that's actually FDA approved. Under the name Vyleesi, it was approved back in 2019. Real phase 3 human trials, a proper regulatory review, the lot. Almost nothing else we talk about on this channel can say that. But before you get too excited, read the fine print. It's approved for one specific thing: premenopausal women with low sexual desires that's causing them genuine distress. It's not for men, and it's not for everyone. All the men stuff, the ED you've heard about, that's all off-label, which is just a polite way of saying the label doesn't actually say that. Approved is not the same as approved for you. Hold that thought. Here's where the Viagra comparison completely falls apart. Think of an erection like a building's plumbing. Viagra and the whole family it belongs to works on the pipes. It relaxes the blood vessels and lets more flow in. It's just pure plumbing. PT-141 doesn't touch the pipes at all. So let's look at the actual science. It works up in the brain on the melanocortin receptors, a receptor called MC4R that's tied to actual sexual desire itself. So instead of fixing the plumbing, it's flipping the on switch on the wiring, the wanting, the ability to want. One works on the hydraulics, the other works on the software. That's why it can do something Viagra can't. But it also means the side effects live somewhere completely different. Which brings us to the catch. Because there's always a catch with these things. And this one has 3 parts. Number 1, nausea. In trials, about 40% of people felt sick. That's not a rounding error, that's half the room. For most, it eased off after the second dose, but 1 in 8 people needed anti-sickness meds just to tolerate it. Number 2, blood pressure. And every dose gives a small temporary bump, which sounds quite trivial until you realize it becomes a big issue if you've got uncontrolled blood pressure or heart disease. That's a real line on the official label, not me being dramatic. And number 3, my personal favorite, and a clue to that mystery that I promised you right at the start, about 1% of users, it can darken patches of skin, your face, even your gums. Sometimes it doesn't fully fade. A libido drug that tans your gums. Keep that in the back of your pocket because it's about to explain everything. Which brings us to the drug PT-141 is constantly mistaken for, Melanotan II. And here's why the mix-up happens. They're basically family. Both poke fun at the melanocortin system. Let's look at the actual science behind that. Melanotan II leans on a different receptor in the family, MC1R, the one that tells your skin to make more melanin and go brown. That's why people buy it. It's an injectable suntan. But those receptors sit right next to each other. So Melanotan II hits the desire pathway as well. As a bonus, it was never designed for. So far, so clever, right? But here's the divorce. Melanotan II isn't approved anywhere. It's linked in case reports to new and changing moles, a melanoma risk the regulators in the UK and in Australia have formally warned about. Plus, priapism, an erection that won't go down and becomes a genuine medical emergency. One of these 2 went through trials and earned a label. The other's a Wild West injectable. Same family, very different postcode. So is PT-141 worth it? Here's an honest engineer's answer. It's the most legitimate option in a very murky category, with actual real human data behind it. But it's approved for a very narrow group, and off-label use is exactly that. The FDA-approved still ships with nausea, a blood pressure warning, and the occasional tanned gums. It's not a magic switch, it's a real drug with a real trade-off, and you need to treat it as one. Oh, and I almost forgot that weird story that I promised you earlier. In 1998, researchers at the University of Arizona were testing Melanotan II, right? The goal was suntan in a syringe, nothing more. But the male volunteers kept reporting the same unscheduled side effect, spontaneous erections, hours after the injection, that nobody designed and nobody asked for. That oops was the discovery. Scientists took the accidental effect, stripped out the tanning part, and refined it into PT-141. So the libido drug and the tanning drug aren't just confused with each other, they were born from the exact same experiment. The suntan came first, the rest was just a happy accident. Now I want to hear from you. If a drug works on the desire pathway in your brain, rather than blood flow in your body, is that a smarter fix, or does messing with brain chemistry scare you even more? I'm genuinely torn on this one, so tell me in your comments below. And since the approved version is so hard to get, right, and everything else is the Wild West, go watch my video on spotting fake COAs and dodgy suppliers next. I'll link it for you right here. It'll save you a very bad decision and a lot of money in the long run. Until next time, keep safe, and I'll see you right back here on Peptide Corner.